You too. What is crack-a-lackin'? It is Scott from SemiPro here, and today we are going to do full schedule game-by-game predictions for the entire AFC East Conference. Before we get into the video, I do gotta let you guys know that we will be dropping these videos for every single division in the NFL. I will link a playlist below to the divisions that we have already done, and if you want to see your team's division go next, make sure to comment down below so that I can get to it. Alright, we're going to start off with the obvious first place team in this conference. They are coming off a Super Bowl. They have the best young quarterback in the NFL, and the future is very, very bright for this team. The Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, are going to finish 13-3, first in the division, 7-1 at home, and 6-2 on the road. And on my graphic, I accidentally put no for the playoff section, but obviously at 13-3, they will be in the playoffs. So I think they start off the season very, very strong with wins versus the Texans, Chargers, Ravens, Patriots, and Raiders. There are some tough games in there like the Texans and the Ravens, but I think the Chiefs right now are better and will win those games. I think their first loss of the season comes at the Buffalo Bills. I think that is a very, very tough stadium to walk into. I really like the Bills this season. I could definitely see that being the Chiefs' first loss. Then they're going to go back. They're going to get hot again with wins at Denver and Mile High versus the Jets and versus the Panthers. Okay, then for the Chiefs' second loss of the season, I actually have them losing at Las Vegas. I don't think the Raiders are going to be any kind of world beater team this season. We'll get into them in just a bit, though. I do think they're going to be a very, very strong team, though, and I expect the new Las Vegas Stadium to kind of breathe some life into them, assuming that they have fans. We don't know what's going to go on with that, but we will see. But I definitely view this as a very losable game for Kansas City. Then they go on the road to Tampa Bay. We will get into Tampa Bay more in my NFC South predictions, but I am actually very high on Tampa Bay this year. I think they are going to be a very, very good team, but I think the Chiefs can walk in there and beat them. Then they've got the Broncos at home, which would make them split the season series with Denver. I think the road team is going to win each game of the series. Sometimes these rivalry games have a weird way of working out like that. And then they're going to finish the season on a fairly easy stretch with the Dolphins, Saints, Falcons, and Chargers. Obviously, at New Orleans is no easy task, but I do think the Chiefs are the best team in the league right now, and they will win that game. Alright, at second place in the division, give me the Denver Broncos. I think this team is being criminally slept on. I think they're going to finish 11-5, second place in the division, 6-2 at home, 5-3 on the road, and get into the playoffs. They start their season versus the Titans. I think they win that game. The Titans are going to be a pretty good team this season, but I like the Broncos more. Then they go at Pittsburgh. I think they win that game fairly easily. I'm not too high on the Steelers right now. Then they're going to get that first loss of the season hosting Tampa Bay. Really like Tampa Bay, really like their new additions. I think they lose that one. Then they've got to travel to MetLife and play the Jets. I really, really like the Jets this season. I don't think they're any kind of world beater, but I do think they're a team that can beat anyone on any given Sunday. And given that they are hosting that one, I think the Broncos drop it. Then they travel to New England. I think they beat the Patriots. They've got Miami. I think they win there. We already went over the Kansas City game. I think that's a loss there, but they will end up splitting the season series. At Atlanta, I think that's a win. At Las Vegas, we already went over this. I think the Raiders are going to be a good home team this year, especially. No world beaters by any means, but they're going to be another one of those teams that can beat any team any day of the week. Then they're going to go on a nice little 3-game win streak with the Chargers, Saints, and the Chiefs. Kind of a tough stretch there, but I actually really like their chances with 2 of those 3 being at home. Then at Carolina, I view this as kind of a trap game in between Kansas City and Buffalo. On the road, I think that's kind of a weird game that they could drop there, so I gave them the loss. Then Buffalo, I think they can win that game at home. At the Chargers, I think that's a win there, and then they will close out the season versus the Raiders with a win. And speaking of the Las Vegas Raiders, I think they are going to finish 9-7 at third place in the division, 6-2 at home, 3-5 on the road, and with my full season breakdown that I did with every single NFL team, they would sneak into the playoffs there. So in their first game of the season, they're on the road versus the Panthers. I think they win that game easily, and then they've got a really tough stretch to begin their season. New Orleans, New England, Buffalo, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, and Cleveland. I envision them dropping most of these games. I think they might win one or two of them. I think that one win that they're going to get, though, is versus the Bills at home. So that would be a really tough start for them at 2-5, but I do think they turn it around, so don't worry, Raiders fans. I think they get a win at the Chargers to start the momentum. Then they get a win at home versus Denver, a win at home versus KC, and then they go on the road and get a win at Atlanta before the momentum breaks and they lose at MetLife Stadium to the Jets. But then they win a few more with wins at home versus the Colts and the Chargers. Then they win a game against Miami on the road before they finish their season with a loss at Denver. Alright, so in last place in the division, I have the Los Angeles Chargers, and forgive me, Chargers fans, if you guys are even real. I like what you guys are doing. I like the direction. I think Justin Herbert will be a solid QB. You guys have tons of weapons. You have a nice roster, but there are just too many holes on this team for you guys to be super competitive right now. So I've got them finishing 6-10, last place in the division, 4-4 at home, 2-6 on the road. Obviously, no playoffs at 6-10. You guys know the rules for my division breakdown videos. I'm not going to spend too much time going into the last place team, but I really think the Chargers just kind of got a bad deal here. They're building the right way. They've got the young quarterback, but they just play in a really tough division, and I didn't even realize this when I was picking their games, but I actually have them as winless within the division, which probably won't happen, but I mean, it could, because I just think they're a very clear step behind every other single team in the division. That said, I think they are well ahead of teams like Cincinnati, Carolina, Miami, and Jacksonville, and they should get easy wins there. I just think this team is a year or two away from being able to compete in this division. Alright, so those are my picks for the AFC West in 2020. Drop your guys' opinions down below. I want to see what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe to SemiPro. We post dope sports content every single day, and I promise you will not regret it.